Thank you everyone for joining us here tonight. It is Big Talk. I'm Uyi Agmofwegbe, sitting in for Michael Adikon, my colleague. Tonight we go big on the local government autonomy conversation, especially given the new angles we're now finding to this evolution, as I like to call it on the program tonight. First off, we understand that the federal government has rolled up its sleeves, for want of better words, and has gone to work by way of implementation. I mean, as of today, we know for a fact that there's a 10-man committee already put together by the federal government to help drive this implementation. Now, there are several questions arising from this particular development. First of all, is this the federal government trying to lead by example, maybe show some sterling example for states to follow? Add to that the fact that we're now seeing a bunch of local government elections already planned to happen between now and end of year. Some people say this verdict by the Supreme Court is not just a blessing for local government autonomy, but it's also a revolution in terms of how we govern at the grassroots level. But then we are going to also ask tonight, is this a flash in the pan, or is it going to be a sustainable phenomenon that will help to provide leadership in a manner that is bottom up? And that's what we're going to find out on the program tonight. So stay with us. After this break, we'll put the conversation on the road for you. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us on the program, everyone. My guest tonight is a legal practitioner, Felix Adache. It's a delight to have you here.
It's my pleasure.
Great. I want us to start from, first of all, let's look at the caliber of people that we have here. Leading this pack of the people in this committee, you have the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy. And then, of course, you have Dr. Olayemi Kadoso, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. What is your sense of this development, looking at the caliber of the people in this committee, and then this particular move by the federal government?
Well, thank you very much. I think my take on it is, with the pedigree of the people you've mentioned, where they are coming from and where they are now, their integrity is being put to test. Their integrity is highly being put to test. And the earlier they got to understand that, the better for them in handling the assignment being given to them. Because this is a tortuous problem that plague the Nigerian society. And the local government, as a tier of government, is facing extinction, as the case
until this verdict.
Until this verdict, and I'll tell you why. For more than 2 decades, the governors have carried on as if the local government is just a department or an appendage to the governor, and they do as they will. And I think that is one of the courage from the military era. You have a situation where the head of state appoint a military governor, the military governor appoint local government administrators, and the governor directs what happened. And I think that's how they sneak the infamous section 162 sub 6 into the constitution. And that's what the governors are hanging on. That section 162 sub 6 merely said there will be a joint account for the local government, where the state government takes the local government allocation from the federal government and deposit it into that account where the local government is supposed to draw from. One, it would have been a good arrangement. It saved the cost of moving this fund to the local government. Two, it gives the state government an oversight function as to how this money is being dispensed. But that's not what we're witnessing. What we begin to have over the years is the governor sit on that money and administer it the way he wants, making in fact, what they are simply telling the local government chairman is that I know the problem of your local government more than you, so I should know how to spend your money more than you can. It's like a father telling the son who is old and married with children that, look, this money you are earning, I can spend it on your family better than you can. And then with that arrangement, we have cases of fraud coming in. We've had instances where local government chairmen will be made to sign for monies they never collected. For instance, 10 million is the allocation. They make the local government chairman to sign for, he has received 10 million, whereas it's only 2 million that will get to the local government chairman.
So what does he do? He
They
pays
barely
salaries.
release for salaries and their upkeep. That way, the local government cannot grow. The adverse effect of that is serious-minded people don't want to go for local government chairman election. In fact, the state governments don't even organize elections anymore until this judgment. They don't even organize elections, not to talk of those we have as councillors. So the federal government, the president, has done something laudable. We should applaud him for that. I am one person that I believe where a leader does well, you applaud him. Where you critique when he's taking the wrong step. For this, I think he has taken a very good step. And also setting up this ministerial committee is another good step. But we are yet to see how it turns out.
Let's talk about some of the headwinds, or if you like, obstacles that this particular committee may have to deal with going forward. Because I'm not sure you are seeing this as a smooth sail, are you?
No. It's not going to be a smooth sail. A smooth sail. We'll still having what I call the hurdle of Nigerian politicians. And that's the big hurdle we are facing. And that's why I say we should applaud the president, because he has dared a storm. Now, let's not forget, for every political party, the governors have a strong hold. And what do you expect? This is one big largesse is taken away from them. And they have displayed themselves in the recent end bad governance protests. Did you see the governors talking as if they are in one ship with the president? No. I think only about 2 governors came out to talk to address protesters. And what did they say? We are taking your complaint to Mr. President. Even those ones, they try to excuse themselves from the malice that we're facing. And I ask Nigerians, yes, it's good to hold our president accountable, but are we not doing less? Are we not showing ourselves as incompetent followers if we can't hold our local government chairmen accountable, if we can't hold our governors accountable? Now, this is the problem the committee is going to face. Some members of that committees are former governors.
Right.
They have romance with the current governors.
And they have partisanship as well.
And they have partisanship. Even the ministers in that committee, they belong to the government that belongs to a party. That's where my doubt comes. Are they going to carry this battle to the end, or they are going to chicken out along the line? Is yet to be seen.
Do you see the governors fighting back one way or another?
They're already fighting back. They're already fighting back. One of the governors, I think Adamawa State Governor, has gone to court.
To challenge?
Not challenge the judgment, but gone to court to say the federal government does not have the right to administer monies in the federation account. That every money that enters the federation account should be brought to FAC to be decided on wholesale. But what he failed to understand is he's not looking at the various sections of the Constitution. I think 162(3) 3, 4, or thereabout, will tell you that that money in the federation account should be administered as directed by the National Assembly. I know that case will fall as before it even takes off. It's already falling.
So it's dead on arrival.
It's dead on arrival. But what instigates his filing of that suit is, okay, if you're telling us we can't hold on to local government's money and spend it for them, you can't hold on to monies in federation account and take any part for any reason. No, it's beyond that. It's beyond that. Who buys the arms that secure your state? Do you buy them?
And that is in the exclusive list.
Yes. There are elements of that exclusive list that is beneficial to all tiers of government,
top to bottom,
but must be administered by the federal government.
Right.
And you can't say the federal government will not take out such money. So he's saying only revenues that have been expressly exempted by the Constitution should be retained by the federal government. But I don't see that case. But that's one measure of fighting back, you're saying. Another fighting back is like what I said earlier about the protests. Another one is a subtle threat that will start following by the time the politics begin to heat up. They may begin to give a body language they are not going to support the president for the next election. 2027. And by the time that begins, they may even start whispering it to these committee members as to carry the message to this man, to the president. If you go on with this, this is. And I just pray that Mr. President will understand that it's better to do a 4-year term doing the right thing than pursuing an 8-year term doing the wrong things. It's better to do a 4-year term leaving a legacy and a name in gold than doing an 8-year term and be forgotten even before you leave the office.
Most times when we'll have this conversation about local government administration, especially with regards to this verdict by the Supreme Court, it appears there's a narrow-mindedness in the way we talk about it. For example, we seem to drill down to the monetary aspect of it when we talk about local government autonomy. Talk to us about some other, if you like, items that come in the pack.
Thank you. The money is the eye-catching part of that for any human being. Where your money is where your heart is. Where your money is where your hope is. That's why you see people talking more about the revenue side of that judgment. If not, there is another critical side to that judgment. Section 1, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, Section 7, sub 1, and various other sections of the Constitution of the Federal Republic makes it clear that no one can govern the federation or any part of it save as provided by the Constitution. Now, what that means is that a local government, as provided for in the Constitution, can only be administered by a democratically constituted council or council. That means we must have election into our local government councils. But what we have had always been governors, for whatever reason they think, setting up administrators or caretaker committee and all that. And the Supreme Court have said that can no longer hold. There must be election. In fact, a far-reaching decision, one of the prayers granted that really appealed to me, is the fact that the federal government has the power now to retain revenues meant for any local government that does not have a democratically elected council.
In terms of caretaker committees,
yes,
and what have you.
So that's the big plus. So it means that apart from the financial autonomy, the Supreme Court is granting the local government political autonomy too. So what we're going to have going forward is no reason is good enough. If the federal government cannot give excuse for not conducting the governorship elections, the state governors too should not have any excuse for not conducting the local government election.
We're going to take a break very soon, but I want to ask you just this sort of closing question for this segment. Is it correct, given this your narrative, to say that there's now, well, for, in a manner of speaking, a divorce between state governments and local governments in light of the sort of influence that state governors wield over local government? Is there a split now?
Not completely, but it's a good start. Not completely, but it's a good start. We'll get the big break when we begin to have the election into local government being handled by INEC, not state electoral bodies that are paid by the state governors and controlled by state governors. Until that is done, we will not have the clean break. Now, let's not forget, a federating unit, a federation, is a coming together of federating units. And these federating units are at levels. I laugh at some people who say we have only two units, the federal government and the state government. No. You have the federal government, by our constitution, you have the state government, and you have the local government as the third tier. These are the three units under the federation. In other places, you call them counties, you call them districts. They all have their roles spelled out in the constitution. So if the federal government electoral body, if the federal electoral body, INEC, is permitted to conduct election into the state government offices, then they should equally conduct election into the local government offices. And that's, if we can have that, added to what the federal government have done through the Supreme Court, then we can now say we have an independent or a living local government councils.
All right, great. We're going to take a quick break now, everyone. The conversation has just gotten started. When we return, several more issues to look at, particularly as it has to do with internal mechanism of political parties, which, of course, will end up producing those who will be saddled with the responsibility of administering these local governments, 774 of them across this country. We'll let you in on that when the rest of the program returns. Do stay with us. So I'm just going to allow us switch gears for a minute. Let's talk about the elections themselves, because we are going to get there. We have a bunch of them already scheduled for the next few months. We're now seeing some states saying, look, we are boycotting these elections. We don't want to participate. So if you have a PDP government in the state, APC says we don't want to participate. If you have an APC government, PDP says we're not interested, because the presumption is that the ruling party in that state will carry the day, as we say in sports. Do you see that changing anytime soon?
Well, just like I pointed out earlier, until we have that election in the hand of an independent umpire, the federal INEC, we cannot
not state independent electoral commission.
No, we cannot have that clean break, because they've not been able to prove themselves over time that they are really independent. What we've been having is any political party in power in any state wins the election landslide, wholesale. If you have 34 local governments, 34 local governments is won by the party in power. You don't do that. So I am not saying INEC is a clean bed, no. But we want to believe that it's better. It's better for us to have, for now, it's better for us to have this local government election conducted by. Now, for some states, for some governors who are rushing to conduct this election, they are also trying to have a local government council, elected local government council in place before any next move is made. That's why you see them rushing. Because
So there's a scheme going on.
there's a scheme going on. What you're going to have is, as they are conducting these elections, if PDP is the governor or is holding the government of that state, PDP win all the local government election. They put their men there. They will still know how to strike the deal, but it's not going to be the same. Why? The local government chairman, by this Supreme Court judgment, if for any reason you become a local government chairman, you should have it at the back of your mind that you don't have immunity. The governor has immunity, but you don't have. So if you foolishly go along and play the old record, you'll be in for it. So no matter what happens, it's still going to be better. But again, we must have a clean break by having INEC conduct elections. Like the states you were mentioning, the funny one among them all is Rivers State. It's not even the opposition party that is saying we don't want the election.
It's the same ruling party in that state.
It's the same ruling PDP. It's the same ruling PDP that is orchestrating the cases that is delaying election into the local government election.
With a litany of litigations.
Very funny litigations. And you hear, you listen to very senior lawyers coming up with arguments. And if you take your time to look at the Supreme Court judgment you just were discussing, most of the issues they are canvassing have been quietly addressed. Now, if the Supreme Court say you don't have the right, the governor or the State House of Assembly does not have the power to constitute local government interim administrators or caretaker government. If the Supreme Court is saying that the governor and the State House of Assemblies do not have the power to cut short the life of the local government chairman, does that not tell you that the local government, the State House of Assembly do not also have power to elongate the lifespan of a local government chairman? As is playing out, they are trying to play out in Rivers. The Supreme Court have said you cannot cut short the life. So how can you extend the life? They are saying they have extended their lifespan by 6 months. No, the vote, the mandate given to them was at that time for 3 years. They have exhausted it. The State House of Assembly does not have the power to give them 6 months.
So election is even long overdue.
Long overdue. Yes, the governor is wrong also by constituting a caretaker, local government administrators. Yes, but the governor, knowing that is wrong, have said, let us quickly organize an election. Let us quickly organize. What is PDP in Rivers afraid of?
Well, as politicians always say, they might end up telling us it's a family problem. But let's talk about issues that are more of a Nigerian problem. You have, sparingly talked about INEC conducting elections at the local government level.
Yes.
I mean, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, a man who has under his belt the experience of conducting 2 cycles of general election, in addition to several all-cycle elections here and there, has said that with a big if, INEC is provided with the required resources, it can conduct elections for local governments. But he also says that what we have at the moment at the local government level is not election, is coronation. What more help can we give to INEC? Because INEC has also seen so much of bashing since 1999 in terms of how it midwives elections in this country.
Well, I will speak to INEC as a body, not any individual.
Right.
Because if I want to start to talk about individual performance, that's the minus
that
INEC has, especially in the light of the last election. The current INEC chairman, I think, reversed the gains of INEC under Jega. So I wouldn't want to go there. But yes, I will agree with him that what we have at the local government level, and I think that was the point I started making from the beginning, what we have, we've not had elections. We've been having coronation, appointments. Even where they dare to conduct election. The least, a politician or some politicians have come out to clearly say election results are written in their offices. Even before the elections are conducted, the winners are known.
And we also have the governors to thank for this.
You have the governors. So what resources is Mahmoud asking for? Take Lagos State, for instance, or take Zamfara State as an example. INEC have registered conducting election into House of Assembly, governor, president. These are the same people that will vote. The same people that vote for the governor of that state are the same people that will vote for the local government chairman of the various local government. And you have register in containing voters in each local government. Or are they telling us they don't have that register? All you need is to update that register. Call for people to come and register or renew their voters card. And you have a clean, you dust the register you have, and you have a clean register for election. So I think INEC has what it takes to conduct local government election.
Let's talk about the local government chairman now, because for whatever it's worth, these landmark judgments, as many persons have come to refer to it, has ensured that local government as we know it does not remain the same. However, we all know that to whom much is given, much is expected. How much more work does this put in the front of local government administrators, whether it's the chairman or those who are at the legislative arm?
Now, before I go into answering that question, I will need to call on Nigerians to take their local government more seriously. Let's have people with pedigree, with integrity, with ability go into contesting election into the chairmanship of their various local governments. Let's have enlightened people, knowledgeable people go contesting election into the legislative arm of that local government, the councillors, so that we can get things right. Now, having said that, the work before the local government, for instance, road construction. We know that in this country we have road separated into three trunks. Trunk A, B, C. Trunk A roads are to be managed, constructed and managed by the federal government. Trunk B roads are to be constructed and managed by the state government. And Trunk C roads, which have been suffering over the years, are to be managed by this local government. So you now have, if by the time we have a clear-cut separation on administration and finance of the local government, we should be able to ask our local government chairman the roads linking the wards, which is Trunk C road, the roads linking the villages, which are Trunk C road, what are you doing? And then that now gives my ward the opportunity to say we are not voting for you in the next election because you didn't fix our road. We have the hospitals that are supposed to be under the care of local government. We should be able to question them. So it's not as if the Supreme Court is giving local government chairman holiday package. No, you are being called to duty. And you must live up to that expectation. Another thing is the local council, the councillors. The councillors are not only meant, they are not only designed to make legislation, edicts for the local government. No. They are also supposed to advise the state government on economic issues relating to their local government. So by the time you have illiterates who are only interested in bag of rice and Christmas or Salah packages.
Market revenue.
How do you get that done? As I speak to you, we have local government councillors who cannot even write their names. That must come to an end. And it can only come to an end if you and I decide to go back and say, let's give in to our community. Until that is done, we're still going to have a lot of local government chairmen and councillors don't even know their rights under the Constitution.
So there's a lot of problem. We're going to take another break soon, but before that happens, I want to ask you this. People say since 1999 till now, I mean, this has been, 25 years counting, that Nigerians have become more politically conscious or politically aware. How can we bring that level of awareness to how we, if you like, rail guard local government administrators? Because it appears there's this culture that has set in, this culture of people not even believing in the local government anymore. How do we restore confidence in that arm of government, I mean, that tier of government, and then begin to drive change from the ground up?
Now, that enlightenment, this is the starting point of it, this landmark judgment of the Supreme Court.
Right.
The reason why so many people stayed away is they can't see themselves having achieved certain things in life. They can't see themselves becoming a head boy to a principal governor. And so they would rather stay away. But where we have financial autonomy for the local government, we have political independence, and we now have the electoral process defined or put in a good position. You see people coming in. The awareness is there. But the obstacle has been this stranglehold by the governors. So you see people going, well, what can we do? And what they fail to understand is you spend 3 or 4 years as local government chairman or 8 years as local government chairman, that's the end of your career. Because by the time you come to aspire for a higher office, the question the people will ask you is, what did you do as a local government chairman? And you realize you did nothing except feeding a few. So the awareness is there. Let's get a good template. I am sure you get people going back to contest elections.
All right. We're going to come back to continue this conversation. But again, we're hitting another quick break. When we return, we'll look at what some persons have now called federalism and true federalism, and then see how this landmark judgment by the Supreme Court and all of the developments following can help define, or if you like, redefine the narrative going forward. Do stay with us.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
Amongst academics, political analysts, commentators, and even politicians themselves, there has been this back and forth kind of debate as to whether Nigeria, in the real sense, is practicing federalism as we know it, as it ought to be. Or some people say, well, there is federalism, but what we're practicing is not true federalism. So I'm going to ask you this. They say the presidential system of government that we operate was actually, quote unquote, borrowed from the United States. As it stands today, can we hold our heads above water with our chest in front and say that we're practicing federalism in this country?
I think my response will come this way. We are trying to.
So it's all an attempt?
It's an attempt to practice federalism. And if you're saying that we copy from the United States, then we are bad copiers. If you say we borrow from the United States, then we are terrible borrowers. Because what we are having, I really pity us as a people, the many years of military holding this country for a very long time. The real constitution you have, if you read our 1960 constitution, 1979 constitution, you see attempt to really have federal government. But the 1999 constitution, you can see a clear military pen on it.
Even with the people element.
Yes. Who are the we? Of course, I don't. It has come to stay, so let's just look at. Now, the step this government is taking, we've been clamoring for restructuring. We've been clamoring for constitutional amendment. I think, it's my thought, I think this government must have studied the attempt of the previous government. The attempt at constitutional conference, which never see light. The attempt, the government of the past government, the 9th Assembly, made attempt, even this local government issue we are talking about, they made attempt to correct it, amend the sections of the Constitution. It was passed, but failed when it's to go through the states for approval. The various houses of assembly, being stooges of the governor, killed that dream. And now, I think the smart thing this government have done is, instead of wasting all our money
and time,
we have the judiciary. The judiciary can also make laws. And they have submitted it. Now, the good thing is, with what has happened, we must start by getting the structure first. If we're talking about federalism, what are the units that make up that federal government? Is the local, state, and federal. The state and federal has been there, but the local government has been is just trying to come out of ICU by this judgment. So by the time we have a clear local government, state, and federal government structure, then we can now go into the next phase of it, devaluation of powers. Everybody will agree with me that the power is too concentrated at the center.
So there needs to devolve.
There is need to devolve. There's need to devolve. And the fear we have, why some people wouldn't want to push too far for this devolution, is the question of what are the state governments doing with the powers already with them? How have they profited their various states with what is in their hand?
They say all they need now is the state police. They're asking for state police.
Who? State police. What have you done? Even when you don't have state police, we are seeing what they are doing to people. One of the things that is causing us big problem now is the government of Ogun State detaining the Chinese man for 10 years without trial because they are in power. They are not able to look beyond the immediate, that these people may go. So you see, state police, fine, until we have people, the state government, various state governors, if they don't know, they have to know it, that they are already suffering a trust deficit. People don't have confidence in them. They need to do much. Don't see us. When I say governor, it's not just about who is there today.
So there's a history to it.
A history to it. And there is a future to it. But you that is there now, what are you doing to prove that you are different? You have powers in your hand. You have funds in your hand. How have you administered it? That will get me to say, okay, let's push for it. If not, if we have good leaders manning the state and local governments, Yes, the way to go is to have state police. The way to go is to have state police with her functions clearly spelled out. In the United States, for instance, there are crimes that are managed by the counties. There are crimes that are managed by the state's police. And there are crimes that are managed by the FBI, the federal police. That's what it should be. But not with people, just the 2 policemen or 4 policemen attached to you, you can molest the whole local government. Not to talk of when a whole state police is under your command.
All right, so let's begin to wind down gradually now. We have the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON. People are saying ALGON is MIA. In other words, ALGON is missing in action. What are your thoughts in this regard?
Well, we cannot have a living ALGON without a living local government. ALGON, as far as I'm concerned, is only on paper at the moment. Because from the chairman of the ALGON to the least person in ALGON, they are all appointees of their various governors. So how do you get them to talk? What the federal government is doing is what ALGON should have. ALGON should have been the one instituting this case long ago. But they couldn't. Because the moment you attempt it, your governor will remove you.
So you rather want to
You just play the
pursue
ball.
self-preservation?
Get what you can get and go. Self-preservation, right. So we hope that the new phase we are entering into will give us an ALGON that know their powers under the Constitution, know their rights under the Constitution, and push for the survival of their local governments.
Just the eyes of the cake, as they say. As it stands today, we understand elections have been scheduled in many states across this country. We can't be sure how it's going to turn out because this appears to be some acid tests because of the landmark judgment by the Supreme Court now. What are your expectations, basically, and how do you think, or in what ways do you think these elections will help to shape local government administration going forward?
The current election into local government is not going to bring us any change. It's not going to bring us any change until, like I said earlier, we have that election conducted by another body. We're still going to have the governors bringing in, for instance, the primaries. Who's going to handle it? Is the party coordinators who are the boys of the governor.
So the governor still has a whole lot of influence?
Yes. And then, for instance, if APC, the government of my state is APC, and we know that the governor is the one who is going to bring the candidates for APC in my local government, the alternative for us is to queue behind the candidate of PDP. But you're still going to have problem. The people queue up behind PDP. I'm just giving an instance. The people queue up behind PDP. The election is going to be conducted by the state electoral body who are answerable to the governor. The day of the election, you may not even see any electoral officer, but the result will be declared and the APC will win. And he will go answering to the governor again.
Does that not take us back to Egypt,
Yes,
as it were?
we are not fully out of Egypt yet. We are still in the Passover night. Do you understand? So, when we make the real demand of having this election, or they enforce the committee, the president, I think he has to even go beyond this committee.
What more should be done?
What more should be done? I pointed out earlier, the local government chairman don't have immunity. So from day one you are sworn in, EFCC, ICPC must put their light on the local government chairman.
In terms of how he spends funds?
How he spends funds. Where is the money going to? So if you give to your master, the governor behind, It's your problem. It's nobody's problem. So that could help a little, but the big help is taking the election out of the hands of the governors.
How difficult, how challenging will it be to set up a system that is independent of these states' electoral commissions, where you have the governor being the one calling the shots here and there? It may not be INEC. Some persons have said it mustn't be INEC, that we can have an independent system away from INEC, away from states' independent electoral commission. Do you see that happen? We're going to go for a quick break now. When we return, you will respond to that. Do stay with us, everyone. So I'd like you to respond to that real quick. I mean, do you think it's a smart thing to do to say, let's set up, call it a commission? I don't think nomenclature is as important as having a system, robust and vibrant, to help drive local government elections in such a way that is radically different from what we have had in the past.
How do you do that? Set up commission, whatever name is given. You know, we have problem in this country changing nomenclature, changing name, without changing the people and the heart of the people. We won't be talking the way we are talking. I've said it. Why are we calling on INEC to come and regulate local government elections? It's because we've lost confidence in the governors and the state assemblies. Complete confidence have been eroded. So until they begin to show their capabilities, until they begin to regain the trust of the people, no one wants to entrust anything in their hands. That's why we're calling on INEC. Whatever commission you're talking about, so long as it's going to be constituted and managed by the state government, it's not the way to go. We've not achieved anything. Our leaders must have sense of value. They must think Nigeria. The governors must think their state. I'll give you an example of my state, Benue State. I was a child in primary school when Shagari was president and the late Apeaku was governor. Go to my state. All the key infrastructures in that state were the ones built by Apeaku. We've had a series of governors coming to tell us they are spending our money buying pigs, buying goat, buying this. For what? And Benue has been where it is.
Okay, some people say, well, the current governor, Governor Asen Thalia, is making a difference for the better in terms of infrastructure and so on and so forth. Maybe someday we're going to also have time to spotlight Benue State in terms of the stories coming out from the food basket of the nation. Thank you so very much, Dr. Felix, for coming to join us on this program. And that's all we have for you on Big Talk tonight. I'm Uyi Agmofwegbe, sitting in for my colleague, Edikon Michael. We'll see you again.